Life will test you. That's not a question. It's a guarantee. Challenges are inevitable. They show up in different forms: failure, setbacks, rejection, loss, disappointment. And most people see challenges as obstacles. They see them as barriers between where they are and where they want to be. But here's the truth. Challenges are not obstacles. They are opportunities. Every challenge you face carries the potential to make you stronger, wiser, and more resilient. But only if you know how to transform it. Only if you know how to shift your mindset from resistance to growth. Most people run from challenges. They avoid discomfort. They fear failure. And because of that, they stay stuck. They remain trapped by their limitations, never realizing that the very thing they're avoiding is the key to their breakthrough. Look at the most successful people in the world: athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders. What sets them apart is not their talent or their luck. It's how they respond to challenges. They don't collapse under pressure. They rise through it. They don't let failure define them. They use it to sharpen their strategy. They don't see setbacks as the end. They see them as the beginning of something greater. Because here's the secret. It's not the challenge itself that matters. It's how you respond to it. Two people can face the same challenge. One person lets it break them. The other person uses it as fuel. The challenge is the same, but the outcome is different because the response was different. So how do you transform challenges into triumphs? How do you take life's hardest moments and turn them into stepping stones toward success? It starts with understanding that your mind is the most powerful tool you have. Your mind determines how you interpret challenges. It determines how much pressure you feel. It determines whether you give up or push through. And if you don't train your mind to respond to challenges with strength, you will crumble every time things get hard. But if you learn how to strengthen your mind, if you learn how to control your focus, shift your perspective, and take action even when you're uncomfortable, you become unstoppable. Because challenges don't weaken people. Weak responses do. Every person who has achieved anything significant has faced moments when they wanted to quit, but they pushed through. Not because they were fearless, but because they trained themselves to respond differently to fear. Success is not about avoiding challenges. It's about learning to thrive within them. It's about transforming pressure into progress. It's about turning setbacks into stepping stones. And once you understand this, once you learn how to rewire your mind to respond to challenges with strength, clarity, and confidence, there's nothing you can't overcome. This isn't about motivation. Motivation fades when things get hard. This is about mental conditioning. It's about building a mindset so strong that no challenge can knock you off course. Because you can't control what life throws at you, but you can always control how you respond. And when you master that response, when you develop the ability to stand tall in the face of adversity, you won't just survive challenges. You will transform them into triumphs. Challenges are not designed to stop you. They are designed to strengthen you. But most people don't see it that way. They see challenges as threats. They see them as signs that they're on the wrong path. They interpret discomfort as a reason to quit. This is why most people never reach their full potential. It's not because they lack talent or opportunity. It's because they misinterpret the purpose of challenges. The purpose of a challenge is not to stop you. It's to reveal you. Because how you respond when things get hard says everything about who you really are. Anyone can stay motivated when things are easy. Anyone can show up when the path is clear. But when life knocks you down, when the results aren't coming fast enough, when the setbacks pile up, when you feel like quitting, that's when your true character is revealed. And here's the truth. Character is built in the fire. You don't build strength by avoiding resistance. You build strength by facing it. You don't develop mental toughness by taking the easy path. You develop it by pushing through when everything in you wants to stop. Think about an athlete training for competition. They don't get stronger by staying comfortable. They get stronger by pushing their body beyond its limits. They lift heavier weights. They train when they're tired. They push through the pain because they know that's how strength is built. Your mind works the same way. If you only show up when it's easy, you're not training your mind. You're weakening it. If you quit every time you hit resistance, you're not building resilience. You're conditioning your mind to expect comfort. So the first step to transforming challenges into triumph is shifting your relationship with discomfort. Most people avoid discomfort. They pull back when they feel resistance. They tell themselves, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe it's a sign I should stop. But discomfort is not a stop sign. It's a green light. When you feel discomfort, it means you're stepping outside your comfort zone. It means you're growing. It means you're stretching yourself in ways that will make you stronger. And growth never feels comfortable. When you hit resistance, when you feel like giving up, when things are harder than you expected, that's when you need to lean in. That's when you need to push harder. That's when you need to tell yourself, this is exactly what I signed up for. Because discomfort is the birthplace of strength. Think about a butterfly emerging from a cocoon. It struggles, it fights, it pushes its way out of that tight, constricting space. And it's that very struggle that strengthens its wings so it can fly. If someone cuts the cocoon open to help the butterfly, it will never develop the strength to survive. Your challenges are doing the same thing. They are strengthening your wings. They are preparing you for the next level. They are equipping you with the resilience you'll need to succeed long term. But only if you stop avoiding them. And this is where most people get stuck. They run from the very thing that is trying to make them stronger. They quit when things get hard, not realizing that the challenge is the path. So how do you stop running? How do you face challenges head on without collapsing under the pressure? It starts with how you talk to yourself. Most people talk themselves out of success before they even begin. They say things like, I can't do this. This is too hard. I'm not good enough. What if I fail? But here's the thing. Your mind believes what you tell it most consistently. If you keep telling yourself that you can't handle the challenge, your mind will find ways to make that belief true. Your body will tense up. Your mind will hesitate. Your focus will weaken. And you will create the very failure you feared. But if you start telling yourself a different story, if you start saying, I can handle this, I've been through worse, I am strong enough to figure this out, you give your mind a new set of instructions. And your mind will follow those instructions. This is why elite athletes use affirmations and self-talk before competition. It's not just positive thinking, it's programming. They are conditioning their mind to respond with strength under pressure. They are giving themselves the mental blueprint for success. And you can do the same thing. When you face a challenge, don't shrink, expand. Don't tell yourself, I can't handle this. Tell yourself, this is making me stronger. Don't tell yourself, it's too hard. Tell yourself, this is training. Because that's exactly what challenges are. They are mental training. They are sharpening your focus, toughening your resolve, and teaching you to handle pressure without breaking. And here's the key. Small wins create momentum. When you overcome small challenges, your mind starts building confidence. Your subconscious starts to believe, I can handle pressure. I can figure this out. I don't need to quit. And that belief changes everything. Because once your mind accepts that you are someone who thrives under pressure, challenges stop being threats. They become opportunities. This is why some people seem to rise every time they face adversity. It's not because they're more talented. It's because they have trained themselves to perform under pressure. Their mind knows how to stay calm when things get chaotic. Their emotions don't control them. They control their emotions. And you can train your mind to do the same thing. Because challenges are not the enemy. Resistance is not the problem. Fear is not a weakness. It's all part of the process. The question is, will you lean into it? Or will you keep running from the very thing that's trying to make you stronger? Every great success story has one thing in common: adversity. No one achieves anything significant without facing resistance. No one builds strength without overcoming struggle. No one develops resilience without being tested. And yet most people treat adversity as a reason to stop. They take resistance as a sign that they're not capable. They see struggle as something to avoid rather than something to embrace. But here's the truth. The obstacle is not in the way. The obstacle is the way. Every challenge carries within it the seed of an opportunity. Every setback is a setup for a comeback, if you choose to see it that way. Most people don't. Most people allow challenges to shrink them. They become overwhelmed. They become discouraged. They focus on what went wrong instead of what they can do next. But the people who win in life, they don't just endure adversity, they use it. They take their hardest moments and transform them into fuel. They take their failures and turn them into wisdom. They take their pain and turn it into power. And that shift in perspective changes everything. Because the moment you stop seeing challenges as problems and start seeing them as opportunities is the moment your entire life changes. Think about the people who have achieved the highest levels of success. The entrepreneurs who built billion-dollar companies. The athletes who broke records. The leaders who changed history. Every single one of them had moments where they could have quit. Every single one of them had challenges that could have defeated them, but they didn't stop. They took their failures, their setbacks, their obstacles, and they turned them into stepping stones. They didn't wait for life to get easier. They got stronger. So how do you do the same? How do you train your mind to turn adversity into an advantage? It starts with ownership. Most people give away their power. They blame circumstances. They blame other people. They blame bad luck. And every time they do that, they make themselves weaker. Because if your problems are always someone else's fault, you've given away your ability to change them. If your setbacks are always because of something outside your control, then you've already lost the battle before it begins. But the people who transform challenges into triumph, they take full responsibility for everything in their life. Even the things they can't control, even the things that weren't their fault. Not because they like hardship, but because they understand that taking ownership gives them power. If they own the problem, they own the solution. If they take responsibility for where they are, they take control of where they're going next. So the first step to transforming challenges is shifting your mindset from victim to owner. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, how can I use this? Instead of saying, this isn't fair, say, this is training. Instead of complaining about what went wrong, focus on what you can do next. Because the moment you take full ownership of your life, you reclaim your power. Now, once you've taken ownership, the next step is to reframe the challenge. Most people see challenges as threats. They see setbacks as failures. They see adversity as something negative. But in reality, challenges are neutral. They are neither good nor bad. They only have the meaning you give them. A challenge is only a roadblock if you see it that way. A failure is only final if you decide it is. A setback is only the end of the road if you stop walking. But if you shift your perspective, if you reframe the challenge, you can turn any problem into an advantage. Think about the most successful businesses in the world. Many of them were built in times of crisis. Many of the greatest inventions came from necessity. Many of the strongest leaders were forged in the fire of hardship. They didn't succeed in spite of challenges. They succeeded because of them. They looked at the same problems everyone else faced, but they saw opportunity where others saw obstacles. And you can do the same. When you face a setback, instead of thinking of this as a disaster, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Instead of saying, I can't believe this happened, say, how can I use this? Instead of focusing on what's wrong, focus on what's next. Because the meaning you give to a challenge determines how you respond to it. And how you respond determines the outcome. Once you've reframed the challenge, the next step is action. Because perspective alone is not enough. Ownership alone is not enough. You must take action fast. Most people freeze when they face adversity. They hesitate. They overthink. They wait for the perfect plan. And in that hesitation, they lose momentum. But the people who transform challenges into triumph don't wait. They move. They don't always have the perfect plan, but they take action anyway. They don't wait until they feel ready. They act, and the confidence follows. Because momentum is created by movement. And the faster you take action, the faster you regain control. So when you face a challenge, don't retreat. Advance. Don't wait for permission. Decide. Don't let fear slow you down. Move forward through it. Because every time you take action in the face of adversity, you build mental toughness. You train yourself to respond with strength instead of hesitation. And over time, that habit of action becomes who you are. And that's the real secret to transforming challenges into triumph. It's not just about one moment of courage. It's about training yourself to be the kind of person who rises every time life tries to knock you down. So when the next challenge comes, and it will come, ask yourself, is this going to break me? Or am I going to use this to build myself into something stronger? The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't talent. It isn't luck. It isn't even resources. It's resilience. Resilience is what separates the people who rise from the people who quit. It's what allows some people to keep moving forward, no matter how many times they get knocked down. And the good news, resilience is not something you're born with. It's something you build. Most people think resilience is about enduring hardship. But real resilience is not just about surviving. It's about adapting and growing through hardship. It's about taking every setback and using it to come back stronger, smarter, and more determined. But here's the key. Resilience isn't built in the easy moments. It's built in the fire. It's built when you fail, but you refuse to stay down. It's built when life doesn't go as planned, but you keep showing up anyway. It's built when everything in you wants to quit, but you decide to take one more step. And the more you practice resilience, the stronger it becomes. So how do you train resilience? How do you develop the kind of mindset that turns challenges into triumphs? The first key is embracing discomfort. Most people avoid discomfort. They want the reward without the struggle. They want the success without the setbacks. But that's not how life works. Every breakthrough requires discomfort. Every level of success demands a new level of challenge. And if you're not willing to embrace the discomfort, you'll never reach the other side. Think about the greatest athletes in the world. They don't just train when they feel good. They train when they're sore, when they're tired, when they don't feel like it. Because they understand that discomfort is part of the process. If you want to develop resilience, stop waiting for things to get easier. Stop looking for shortcuts. Stop hoping for a challenge-free path. Instead, learn to see discomfort as proof that you're growing. When you feel resistance, don't pull back. Lean in. When things get hard, don't complain. Get stronger. When life tests you, don't run. Stand tall and face it. Because the more you train yourself to embrace discomfort, the more unshakable you become. The second key to resilience is controlling your focus. When most people face challenges, they focus on everything that's wrong. They focus on the problem. They focus on what they've lost. They focus on the reasons why they can't move forward. But resilient people, they focus on solutions. They focus on what they can control. They focus on what's possible instead of what's missing. Because here's the truth. Where focus goes, energy flows. If you focus on the setback, you will feel stuck. If you focus on the loss, you will feel defeated. If you focus on the pain, you will feel powerless. But if you shift your focus to what you can do next, everything changes. This is why two people can face the same challenge, but have completely different outcomes. One person stays stuck because they focus on the problem. The other person moves forward because they focus on the solution. So when you hit a roadblock, ask yourself, am I focusing on what I can't control? Or am I focusing on what I can do next? Because the answer to that question determines whether you stay stuck or whether you break through. The third key to resilience is developing emotional control. Because challenges don't just test your skills, they test your emotions. And if you don't learn to control your emotions will control you. When things go wrong, most people react. They get frustrated. They get overwhelmed. They let their emotions dictate their decisions. And in that emotional state, they make things worse. But resilient people, they stay calm under pressure. They don't ignore their emotions, but they don't let emotions make decisions for them. They take a breath. They step back. They regain control of their mind before they take action. Because reacting in the moment rarely leads to good decisions, but responding with clarity, that's what changes everything. So when you feel yourself getting frustrated, overwhelmed, or discouraged, pause. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what is the best decision I can make from a place of strength? And then move forward with clarity instead of emotion. The final key to resilience is building an identity that refuses to quit. Because in the end, resilience isn't just about actions. It's about who you are. It's about seeing yourself as someone who always gets back up, someone who always finds a way forward, someone who does not quit. And that identity is built through small decisions every single day. Every time you push through discomfort, you reinforce the identity of resilience. Every time you focus on solutions instead of problems, you strengthen the mindset of resilience. Every time you stay calm under pressure, you prove to yourself that you are unshakable. And over time, that identity becomes who you are. So when the next challenge comes, and it will come, you won't just face it. You will rise through it. You will turn it into fuel. You will transform it into triumph. Because resilience is not about avoiding hardship. It's about becoming someone who is stronger than the hardship. Every challenge you face carries two options. You either break down or you break through. Most people choose the first option. They let challenges drain them. They allow obstacles to weaken their resolve. They give in to the voice that says, "This is too hard, maybe I should quit." But the people who achieve greatness, they choose the second option. They break through. They take the same challenges that destroy most people, and they turn them into stepping stones. They refuse to let adversity define them. They use it to refine them. Because here's the truth. You don't grow when things are easy. You grow when things are hard. You don't develop mental toughness by staying in your comfort zone. You don't build resilience by avoiding hardship. You don't become stronger by wishing for an easier life. You become stronger by rising to the occasion. And the key to breaking through challenges is your perspective. Most people think challenges happen to them. They feel like victims of their circumstances. They see obstacles as unfair roadblocks that stand between them and success. But successful people, they don't see challenges as something that happens to them. They see challenges as something that happens for them. They understand that every struggle is an opportunity in disguise, that every setback contains a lesson, that every difficulty is training them for something greater. And that shift in perspective changes everything. Think about history's greatest leaders, the inventors who revolutionized the world, the athletes who redefined human limits, the entrepreneurs who built empires. None of them had an easy path. They failed. They struggled. They faced rejection, setbacks, and criticism. But instead of seeing those challenges as signs to quit, they saw them as fuel. Because every time you overcome an obstacle, you don't just get closer to your goal. You become someone who is capable of reaching that goal. Your challenges are shaping you. Your struggles are sharpening you. Your failures are forging a version of you that is stronger than anything life can throw at you. So the question is, will you resist the process or will you embrace it? Because resistance makes challenges feel harder. But when you embrace them, when you lean into the difficulty, when you stop wishing things were easier and start focusing on getting better, that's when breakthroughs happen. Now, here's something most people overlook. Your emotional response to challenges determines your outcome. If your default reaction to adversity is frustration, anger, or panic, you are making the challenge harder than it needs to be. You are allowing emotions to cloud your judgment. You are giving the obstacle more power over you than it deserves. But if your response is calm, focused, and strategic, you put yourself back in control. You don't react, you respond. You don't let emotions dictate your actions. You take intentional action. And that shift in emotional control is one of the most powerful tools you have. Because the truth is, challenges don't break people. Their reaction to challenges does. So when you face a difficult situation, train yourself to step back, take a breath, pause before you react. Ask yourself, what is the smartest way forward? Instead of, why is this happening to me? This simple shift will separate you from the majority of people who allow emotions to dictate their decisions. It will give you clarity under pressure. It will allow you to move forward with confidence, even in the face of uncertainty. And the more you practice it, the more automatic it becomes. Now, there's another secret to transforming challenges into triumphs: momentum. Momentum is the force that turns small victories into massive success. It's what separates those who achieve breakthroughs from those who stay stuck. And momentum is created through consistent action. Most people wait for motivation to take action. They wait until they feel ready. But waiting kills momentum. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. The moment you take action, even a small step, you send a message to your brain. I am in control. You shift from being passive to being active. You take the first step, and that first step makes the second step easier. And once you build momentum, challenges stop feeling like roadblocks. They start feeling like puzzles to solve. You stop feeling overwhelmed, and you start feeling unstoppable. So when you face a challenge, don't freeze, don't overthink, move, take one step forward, solve one part of the problem, create one small win, because once you do, the momentum will carry you forward. And the final piece of the puzzle, your identity. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about what you do, it's about who you become. If you see yourself as someone who gives up easily, you will reinforce that belief with every challenge. But if you see yourself as someone who thrives under pressure, someone who finds a way no matter what, someone who turns every challenge into a stepping stone, that identity will shape your entire life. And the only way to build that identity is through consistent proof. Every time you overcome a setback, you reinforce the belief that you are resilient. Every time you find a solution instead of focusing on the problem, you prove to yourself that you are capable. Every time you take action instead of waiting, you train your mind to expect success. And once that identity is locked in, once you truly believe that you are someone who turns challenges into triumphs, nothing can stop you. Because at that point, success isn't something you're chasing. It's something you expect. And when you expect success, when you expect to rise, when you expect to break through every obstacle in your path, that is exactly what happens. You are always at a crossroads. Every challenge you face presents a choice. Will this be the reason you stop, or will this be the reason you rise? Most people don't make this choice consciously. They let their circumstances decide for them. They wait to see how they feel, how difficult the road ahead looks, how much effort it will take. And in that hesitation, in that indecision, they lose. But successful people don't wait. They don't hesitate. They don't leave their response to chance. They decide in advance that no challenge will break them. They program themselves to respond with strength before the challenge even arrives. Because when the pressure is on, when life gets difficult, when failure stares you in the face, that is not the time to wonder if you're strong enough. That is the time to already know you are. And that kind of certainty doesn't come from wishful thinking. It comes from training. Training yourself to move forward when fear tries to hold you back. Training yourself to take action even when you don't feel like it. Training yourself to find a way even when every excuse tells you to stop. Because the truth is, your life will be defined by what you do in the hard moments. Anyone can show up when things are easy. Anyone can stay focused when everything is going well. But when everything is not going well, that's when your true character is revealed. That's when the decision you make changes everything. So how do you train yourself to always make the right choice? How do you develop the mindset of someone who automatically turns challenges into triumphs? It starts with eliminating the option to quit. Most people keep quitting on the table as an option. They say things like, I'll try and see what happens. I'll give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, I'll stop. But that kind of thinking guarantees failure. Because when you give yourself an out, when you allow quitting to be an option, your brain will always take the easy way. The moment things get hard, the moment resistance shows up, that escape route will be the first thing you look for. But people who succeed, they remove that option completely. They don't say, I'll try. They say, I will. They don't say, I hope this works. They say, I'll make it work. And that shift in language, it changes everything. Because when quitting is not an option, your brain stops looking for an escape and starts looking for solutions. When failure is not an option, you stop making excuses and start making adjustments. When success is the only acceptable outcome, you find a way no matter what. And that kind of determination is unbreakable. Now, the second way to train yourself to triumph over challenges is to condition yourself for pressure. Most people crumble under pressure because they're not used to it. They avoid it. They stay where it's safe, where it's comfortable, where they don't have to feel stress, discomfort, or uncertainty. But success requires pressure. Growth requires pressure. Every challenge, every test, every moment of struggle is your opportunity to condition yourself to handle more. Think about elite athletes. They don't just train for skill. They train for high-pressure moments. They put themselves in uncomfortable situations on purpose so that when the real challenge comes, they already know they can handle it. And that's exactly what you need to do. You need to put yourself in situations that stretch you. You need to do things that challenge you. You need to seek out experiences that force you to perform under pressure. Because the more pressure you expose yourself to, the more you normalize it. And once pressure becomes normal, it stops being scary. It stops overwhelming you. It stops controlling you. Instead of thinking, this is too much, you start thinking, I've handled worse. Instead of feeling paralyzed, you feel prepared. Instead of breaking down, you break through. And the third way to turn challenges into triumphs, adopt the mindset of inevitability. Most people hope they will succeed. They hope things will work out. They hope they can handle the challenge. But hope is weak. Hope leaves room for doubt. Hope gives you permission to fail. But the people who win, they don't hope. They expect. They see their success as inevitable. They believe, without a shadow of a doubt, that they will win. And because they believe it, they act like it. They move with confidence. They refuse to accept failure as final. They keep going, not because they think they might win, but because they know they will. That kind of belief is unstoppable. Because when you expect to win, you don't hesitate. You don't overthink. You don't give in to fear. You move with certainty. You take risks with confidence. You refuse to let challenges slow you down. And that mindset, that belief, it bends reality in your favor. Because here's the truth. The person who believes they will win will always outperform the person who just hopes they will. So the question is, do you hope you'll overcome your challenges, or do you know you will? Because the answer to that question will determine everything. At the end of the day, every challenge you face is asking you one question. What are you made of? Are you the kind of person who gives up when things get hard? Or are you the kind of person who rises when tested? Because challenges will come. Setbacks will happen. Life will not go according to plan. That is guaranteed. But how you respond, that is your choice. And that choice is what separates those who struggle from those who break through. Because the truth is, life will never hand you success. It will test you for it. It will challenge you, push you, knock you down. Not to break you, but to build you. So the question is, will you step up to the challenge, or will you let it stop you? Because most people, they stop. They quit. They tell themselves the story that it wasn't meant to be. They walk away from the very thing that could have made them great. But you have a different mindset. You know that challenges are not the enemy. They are the path. You know that discomfort is not a reason to quit. It is the signal that you are growing. You know that adversity is not there to stop you. It is there to prepare you. And when you truly embrace this, when you stop fearing challenges and start welcoming them, you unlock something powerful. You become unbreakable. Because the truth is, once you train yourself to see challenges as opportunities, once you condition yourself to respond with strength instead of fear, once you develop the belief that nothing can stop you, nothing will. So from this moment forward, make a decision. A decision that no challenge will define you. A decision that no setback will stop you. A decision that every obstacle in your path will become a stepping stone. Because when you decide that success is inevitable, when you decide that you are stronger than any challenge, that is exactly what happens.